Hi everybody, happy Monday, Doreen at Door Designs. Welcome to day 7 of the 12 days of Christmas. On today's tutorial, I'm going to be using this 24-inch cypress wreath from Walmart. What I like about this cypress wreath, it's a little bit more expensive than some of the other wreath bases that Walmart has, but it's nice and full. It's a double ring. And it's also got some of these, I'm going to call less expensive pine ties that work great to attach your attachment or your ribbon or greenery if you don't want to use hot glue. I'm going to be using a little bit of both. I'm going to be using some hot glue and some of the pine ties. Now, if I wasn't selling this, I would probably just use my pine ties. That way, next year, if I want to do a totally different design, I can just take my stuff off without it being glued in and reuse my base. Somebody asked me if I reuse my stuff. Absolutely. If I'm making it for me, I very rarely hot glue something in unless that's the only way it'll stay. After the holidays, sometimes I'll keep it the way it is, or a lot of times I'll tear it down, restore my base, but then put my greenery or whatever, and I put them in a separate box and it'll be packed away like for Christmas. And I use those pieces year after year. So on this one, we're going to be using, I've already got my bow made. We're going to be using this ribbon, and it's got the holly with the berries. And then I have this ribbon that I got from Costco that actually you would have thought it was made for the ribbons. Look how perfect those two complement each other. This ribbon, the holly ribbon, came from Craft Outlet. So they're both 1.5 inches, and I did about 4 or 5 loops on each side, and then I kept my tails nice and long because we're going to kind of keep this nice and flowing design. So how I'm going to attach it, I'm not going to zip tie it because you guys know that I typically zip tie everything. I'm going to use 2 of these pine ties, and I'm just going to put it through my bow right here where my zip tie is, and I'm just going to twist it right down in there. So this is going to go about, my bow is going to be about 11 o'clock. So I'm just taking those pine ties and I'm just going to twist it. And we'll just twist it 2 or 3 times. And then we'll get our bow all fluffed up once we get designing on it. But we're going to put some of the greenery in between the loops here. So you can see how the pine ties are coming up in between the bow. So nice and simple. Okay, I'm going to start adding some of my first greenery, and I'm going to be using this holly. And this came from my wholesaler, but I think you can probably use any greenery you want. You can probably find holly at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. So I'm just going to cut some of this down. And a lot of you have been asking about my clippers. They are cobalt, and I got them at Lowe's, but I got it several years ago. I'm assuming they still have them, but I'm not sure. Okay, so we're just going to add our first piece. I've got two pine ties, so I'm just going to twist it around. And sometimes what I do also, after I get it all done, if I think it needs a little bit more secure to keep it in there where I want it, I'll use some hot glue. But we are just going to put some holly all the way around. Make sure and kind of separate your greenery open. Just go up a little higher here. I'm using some more of the ties. Hopefully here. There it goes. So we've got 2 pieces in, and I'll show it to you up close. So I'm just kind of feeding them through the different parts of the greenery. I burned myself the other day on a piece of, or a drop of hot glue. Actually, I was taping a tutorial, so you guys didn't know it, but man, it was burning the top of my, and it has been a long time since I burned myself. I was doing my best not to make a face or yell out. And I did it while I was using a hot glue gun, which I typically don't use. I almost always will use my electric skillet. Well, I've been really lucky. I've had pine ties that will work so far on all my attachments, or my greenery here. Okay, as I'm adding my greenery, I'm doing some to the top ring and some to the outer ring, because I don't want my holly just to go in a straight line. I want to kind of come back and forth all through my design here. There we go. This piece is a little bit smaller, so I might just end up gluing this one in. See how quick it goes just adding these pieces in? And what's nice about this, it's got the frost kind of on it, kind of the shimmery look to it, and then it's got the berries. So you're actually getting two elements every time you add a piece of this. Okay, so these berries on this one were kind of stuck to the base of it. So I'm just taking two small pieces and I'm adding in my berries. Trim that off. And I'm just going to take a small zip tie and zip tie these three together. That way it makes it easier if I'm hot gluing it into a design or zip tying it. So I've got zip tied at the bottom. And I hot glued that one kind of up high. These two came apart. Now you could use any greenery you wanted to enhance this wreath, and you don't even have to use any other greenery if you just wanted to put a bow and maybe some ornaments or an attachment in the middle. Personally, for me, I like enhancing them and adding different greenery. Okay, Okay, around the bow, I'm actually hot gluing it because I don't really have any pine ties to attach it to. And I'm bringing the berries in as part of the bow. I just shipped a beautiful one like I did on this base to Texas to a good friend that I used some flocked greenery in it, and it was really pretty. A few more pieces of this. About one or two more pieces, and then we're going to add our mixed greenery. But I've got a few pieces here and I don't want to waste them. Okay, so when I'm doing the pine ties, I'll just take a piece of it and take it right through here the middle and up, and I'll twist it up at the top. I like to feed it through versus just twisting the end of it, because sometimes I think it'll come loose or fall out just by using the end of it. There it goes. So we're just going to twist those. Okay, I'm going to curl these up so you guys can have a better view of the bottom here. Okay, so we've done our holly all the way around. Now I'm going to add this frosted greenery here. And there are six pieces to this bush, but I'm going to cut them in half. So I'm actually going to get 12 pieces because I don't need them that long. I'm going to take them in just a little bit shorter. I'm mainly using this as a filler, and I'll probably hot glue these in. So when you use hot glue, you want to make sure that your piece that you're gluing in is touching an evergreen piece and not the rim of the wreath, because if it's just the rim, I don't think it's going to attach very tight for you. Oops, let's cut this one down. I'm going to spread my holly out a little bit, and we're just going to continue adding. And like I said, this is just being used for a filler. I want it to be nice and full. You may not be able to see the second greenery from where my camera's at, but I'll show you up close. I'm hoping to get it full enough with just the 2 or the 3 greeneries. But I may have to add a 4th. So all I'm doing is, as I go around, I'm just looking to see how far apart these pieces of greenery are to each other, and trying to make sure I've got enough filled in on all the right little spots. I want some up around my bow. I always like for my greenery to go in between my bow loops, so that way the bow becomes part of the design and it's just not sitting on top of the design. And it also, by incorporating your greenery in around your bow, it also helps hold the bow loops up. Okay, so this last piece I just added here. I actually put it underneath that piece of holly because my holly was laying too flat. So I'm mainly using it as a filler to hold my holly up, because we don't want no flat bow, that's for sure. Okay, I think I'm going to add my lightly kind of flocked greenery next. I might have to add a few berries over there. But let's go ahead and add some of this. And what this is going to do is kind of where there's some dark spots, where there's not as much greenery, so you can kind of see a dark spot right in here. You can have one right up here. We're going to brighten it up with this. So I'm just adding some where I think it looks kind of dark. And see how that white kind of makes it pop? The other thing you'll notice, I don't keep everything at the same height or width. I want it to kind of come out at different angles, different sizes, because I think that's how your wreath kind of jumps out, has more character. Oops. I'm going to cut up one more stem. So the smaller pieces, I am using my hot glue. I do fill the sides. Since I don't know who's going to buy this and where it's going to be hung, if by chance it's going on an inside door or something like that and somebody walks up next to it, I don't want just all the prettiness to be right here on the front and have all of this to be plain and solid green in the back. I want it to look nice all the way back. You can add this as full as you want or as little as you want. The wreath by itself is pretty enough that you don't have to add a bunch of stuff. But I wanted this to be a really pretty winter design because you can display this. Gosh, you could display this clear through March or at least to end of February. I'm going to move some of my ties back here to the back, my ribbon tails. There we go. I am going to keep my ribbon tails long, maybe not quite this long, but they're going to be pretty long. Put a few more pieces over here. Once I get this done, I'll walk away from it for a while. You know how I do. And then 9 times out of 10, when I come back, I'll find a spot or some places I think it needs a little bit more. I also read the comments because everybody's good about telling me where I've got a spot, which, believe it or not, actually helps me out some. I'm one of those 2 sets of eyes are better than one when you're kind of looking at your design. Okay, I've got about 2 more pieces of this left, so I'm going to finish this out. Got a hole over here. Okay, we're going to move this up to where it goes. Okay, let's cut our ribbon tails a little bit. I'm just going to cut them at an angle. Okay, I'm going to cut a couple of red berries. I want to add a little bit of red berry right in here. I've got some here and here. Up here, you can see a little bit back, but I think I'm kind of lacking something right in there and also right over on this side. So while I'm cutting those, I wanted to let you guys know, when you see my tutorials, you need to click or tap on the actual video so it'll open up. Several people on my last one said they couldn't see the wreath. Well, you can't see the fullness of it unless you tap on it, so it opens everything up. So I hope that helps. Okay, I'm going to add some berries there. And one more spot. One more spot for berries, and I think we're done. Okay, one more spot. After this one, I am going to quit because otherwise I'll just keep adding to it and I may not need it. Okay, I'm just kind of moving my holly and everything around. Getting off some of my glue strings. Okay, I think we are done. So I'll show you a close-up. So there it is. So it's nice and full. And like I said, I added 3 different types of greenery. The bow has 2 different ribbons, each 1.5 inches. And I think I did either 4 or 5 loops on each side. Left my tails kind of long and flowing. And here's this side. And the wreath base, like I said, came from Walmart. So you have a nice winter wreath. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I hope you guys will go out and attempt it and make your own for your front door. So have a great afternoon, and I will see you on day 8, I think is my next one. Take care. Bye-bye.